Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring a text that's foundational to Judeo-Christian tradition,
Hmm.
the book of Genesis, specifically the creation narrative.
Okay.
You probably know it's a big deal in that world, but
Yeah.
I think even if organized religion isn't your thing,
Yeah.
the impact that this text has had
Oh, absolutely.
on Western culture and thought is just undeniable
That's a pervasive.
and worth exploring.
I agree.
So Genesis chapters 1 and 2 lay out
Yeah.
the 7 days of creation.
Right.
And I've always found it remarkable how this narrative, thousands of years old,
Oh, yeah.
can still spark debate and inspire reflection today.
Oh, it's amazing how much is packed into this story.
It really is. And right from the start, day one,
Yeah.
we're struck by this incredibly vivid description of the universe's initial state,
Right.
chaos and confusion and darkness.
It's like a void.
It's like this void waiting for something to happen.
Like the potential is there, but nothing's happened yet.
Exactly. And then light.
Right.
And not just any light, but the first creation,
Yeah, the first thing God does.
which feels incredibly significant. Like it's going beyond just a physical phenomenon.
No, absolutely.
Light often symbolizes knowledge, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
The very emergence of order from that chaos.
Yeah, the light dispels the darkness, and all of a sudden things start to...
It's like setting the stage for everything that follows.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you can't really have anything else until you have light, right?
It's true. It's like somebody flipping a switch and suddenly everything becomes visible, possible.
Uh-huh.
I've always been fascinated by how many cultures
Mm-hmm.
have similar creation myths where light is this first crucial act.
Right.
Does that suggest like a universal human understanding of light?
I think it really might, because you see this theme over and over again across so many different cultures and traditions.
Like we instinctively link light with beginnings,
Yeah.
with the source of life and understanding.
With knowledge.
Yeah,
Like it's hardwired into us somehow.
it really does feel that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Okay, so we have light. What happens next?
So then you have...
Days 2 and 3 feel like watching a cosmic construction project unfold.
Okay.
First, we have the firmament.
The what?
The firmament,
don't
the
forget-
sky
Okay, yeah.
separating the waters above from the waters below.
Right. So God is creating these boundaries?
Yes, and then land emerges
Mhm.
from the water. Like it's a powerful image.
Oh, it's such a powerful image.
I mean, see,
Like you were saying, this theme of order emerging from chaos.
Yes.
You know, these boundaries are drawn,
yeah,
and the void starts to take shape.
it's amazing.
And this isn't just a Genesis thing either.
Right.
I mean, this is a common thread you'll find in creation. Myths across many different cultures.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So you see that theme repeated
Yeah.
over and over again.
Everywhere.
And then almost like a reward for all that structuring
Yeah.
plant life appears.
Mm-hmm.
Like the earth is being
It's true.
prepared
But what's to come?
step by step for what comes next.
It's like setting the stage.
It really is.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, day 4 gets even more interesting.
Okay.
We have the creation of the sun and the moon and the stars,
All right.
the celestial bodies.
That's that.
And what's interesting to me is they're not just there to provide light,
Right.
but they're also for signs and seasons and days and years.
Marking time.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It really is.
How it reflects like an early understanding of timekeeping.
Well, think about how crucial those celestial bodies were for ancient people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, for navigation, for agriculture.
They didn't have.
I mean, basically for survival.
They didn't have a calendar app
No, they had to.
to figure all that out.
Right? They had to look to the heavens.
It makes you wonder, do you think ancient people were as captivated by the night sky as we are today?
Oh, I bet they were even more so.
I bet.
I mean, it was their clock.
Yeah.
It was their calendar.
It was their everything.
It was their compass all rolled into one.
And who knows, maybe a source of wonder and awe, just like it is for us.
I mean, there's something about looking up at the stars, right?
Yeah.
Just makes you feel small and connected all at the same time.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, day 5 brings us to the creation of sea creatures and birds.
All right, so now we're populating the water and the skies.
Yeah, be fruitful and multiply. The text says really emphasizing the abundance and diversity of life.
Yeah, so this explosion of life happening.
Exploding onto the scene.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you see echoes of this in other ancient creation myths as well.
yeah,
This idea of primordial waters
yeah,
teeming with life.
yeah.
You know, giving birth to all sorts of creatures.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
So we've got light, We've got land.
Yeah.
We've got plants.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the celestial bodies.
Yeah.
We've got creatures of the sea and the sky.
Right, we get a pretty full picture.
What's left?
Well, day 6 is the big
Oh,
one.
is the big one. Land animals are created in all their variety,
Mm-hmm.
and then humankind enters the picture.
Yeah.
What a moment.
It's a game changer.
It really is.
Yeah.
Humans created in the image of God.
Okay.
It's a phrase so loaded with meaning
Oh, yeah, you could spend hours unpacking that.
that it's open to countless interpretations.
Right.
But what always strikes me is how it brings up those themes of dominion, stewardship,
Yeah.
humanity's unique purpose in creation.
It's like we're given this special role
Right.
in the grand scheme of things.
It's true. The image of God concept has sparked endless debate, hasn't it?
I mean, for centuries.
Well, what does it actually mean?
Are we talking about a physical resemblance?
Right.
Or are we talking about something more profound?
Or is it about our capacity for reason and creativity?
This is all possibilities, right?
I'm curious to hear your take on that.
It's a question that echoes through theology,
Yes.
philosophy,
Yeah.
even art.
It's everywhere.
It suggests this deep connection between the creator and humanity.
But the nature of that connection is
Yeah.
something we're still grappling with today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any easy answer to that question.
No, I don't think so either.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've established this incredible foundation, with the first 6 days of creation.
Right.
But there's so much more to unpack here.
Oh, yeah.
In Genesis chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
we get a slightly different perspective on the creation of humanity, don't we?
We do, yeah. Chapter 1 focused on order and separation,
Right.
light from darkness, sky from water, and so on, like a sort of grand cosmic ordering principle.
It's very neat and tidy.
Yeah, but Chapter 2 zooms in on the creation of humans
Oh, yeah.
and their relationship with the natural world.
Yeah,
It's more intimate,
it is.
wouldn't you say?
Definitely. So what are the key differences in this version of the story?
Okay, well, in Chapter 1, man was simply spoken into existence.
Right.
Here in Chapter 2, it's different.
Okay.
Man is formed from the dust of the ground.
Dust.
Dust.
That's a much more humble beginning.
It is. It's much
Yeah.
more grounded.
Yeah, quite a contrast to the grand pronouncements of chapter 1.
Yeah, it's a very different image.
So it's more about connecting with the earth.
Yeah, it suggests this deep connection to the earth,
Yeah.
a grounding in the physical world that wasn't as explicitly stated before.
It's interesting.
And then God breathes life into this being,
Okay.
literally giving him the breath of life.
Wow.
What do you make of that imagery?
It's so powerful, you
Yeah.
know, this image of both dependence and potential.
Yeah, we're tied to the earth,
Yeah.
formed from it,
Yeah.
but also animated by this divine spark.
It speaks to this duality of our nature, right?
Right, both physical and spiritual.
Yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
God creates this garden in Eden, a delight to the eyes and a source of food,
Beautiful imagery.
as the text describes it.
Right, a paradise.
And places man there,
Mm-hmm.
but not just to like live there.
Well, he's got a job to do.
He's supposed to work it and take care of it.
Yeah, that's the idea of stewardship.
It's such a responsibility.
It is a huge
It's like
responsibility.
being handed a beautiful, thriving garden
Yeah,
and told, okay, now it's your turn to nurture it.
right. Keep it going.
Ensure that it continues to flourish.
Exactly.
And this responsibility extends beyond the garden itself, right?
Right. It says that man is given dominion over all living creatures.
Dominion, that's a loaded word, isn't it?
It is. It could be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
It's often interpreted as a right to exploit,
To control,
to control.
dominate.
But could it mean something different in this context?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Like, what if instead of a raw power,
Yeah.
dominion implies responsible leadership,
Okay.
a call to protect
Mhm.
and guide?
Instead of to rule over.
Yeah, how do you see it?
Well, it makes me think of a shepherd caring for their flock,
Yeah,
you know, as opposed to a king exploiting his subjects.
I like that.
It's more about,
That's a good analogy.
yeah, it's more about this harmonious relationship
Yeah.
between humanity and the natural world.
So we've got man in the garden, this beautiful responsibility on his shoulders. But then comes the creation of woman.
And that changes everything.
Things take an interesting turn.
It does.
So man is formed from dust,
Huh?
but woman is created from man's rib.
Right. It's very different.
It's a symbolic act.
It is.
It highlights this deep connection.
This shared origin.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It's fascinating.
It is. It's definitely a departure from the way man was created.
It is.
They are described as one flesh.
Right. emphasizing their unity and their interdependence.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It challenges the idea of man being inherently superior to
It
woman.
does. It suggests more of a partnership,
Mm.
a relationship built on equality.
And it's worth noting that the Hebrew word esser is used to describe woman here,
Right.
often translated as helper,
Helper.
which doesn't quite capture the full meaning, does it?
No, not at all.
What does it really mean?
So, Esser can also mean a strong rescuer
Oh, wow.
or a powerful ally. So
Interesting.
it's not about subservience,
Okay.
but about mutual support
Gotcha.
and strength.
So it's more of a dynamic duo situation than a master-servant one.
More like partners in crime.
Okay, so we have this beautiful image of man and woman together in the garden, in harmony with each other
Right.
and with nature.
It's idyllic.
But then we meet the serpent and the forbidden fruit,
Right.
and, well, things get a little more complicated.
A little bit, yeah. That's one way to put it.
So what do you think this part of the story is trying to tell us?
Well, it feels like an exploration of the complexities of human nature.
Yeah.
Our capacity for both good and evil, for wisdom and folly.
It really makes me wonder, if every choice we make leads us closer to or further from that initial state of harmony in the garden.
That's a great question.
It's
It's a question that people have been asking for centuries.
Right.
What is the nature of knowledge?
Yeah.
What are the limits of our freedom?
Yeah.
What are the consequences of our choices?
all these huge questions.
I mean, these are all themes that emerge from this encounter with the serpent.
Okay, so man and woman are in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
tempted by the serpent,
Right.
and they take a bite of that forbidden fruit.
They
Lord.
who happens next.
Their eyes are opened,
Oh,
and they become aware of their nakedness.
okay.
They feel shame for the first time.
Interesting.
It signifies this loss of innocence.
Right.
A newfound awareness of their vulnerability
Yeah.
and their mortality.
It's like a veil has been lifted,
Yeah,
and they can no longer see the world
with those innocent eyes.
with the same innocent eyes.
Right. And with that knowledge
Yeah.
comes this sense of separation.
A sense of alienation.
And not just from God,
Yeah.
but from each other,
Yeah.
and even from nature itself.
You're right. It's like this fracturing of that initial harmony and unity.
Yes.
And that has profound consequences for humanity moving forward.
I agree. It sets a different tone for the rest of the story.
It does. It's like a shadow has fallen over paradise.
So the consequences of their disobedience are spelled out pretty clearly, right?
They are expulsion from the garden,
Right.
pain in childbirth,
Yeah.
and the necessity of toil and labor.
It's not a pretty picture.
It's not. It paints a rather bleak picture of life outside of Eden.
But even in this fall from grace, I see a glimmer of hope.
Oh, really?
What about you?
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this glimmer of hope.
Well, amidst the punishments, there's also a promise, isn't there?
Okay.
A promise of redemption,
Mm-hmm.
of eventual reconciliation.
It's subtle.
It is subtle, but it's there.
Okay.
Like a seed planted in the midst of hardship.
That's a really insightful observation.
I try.
You're right. The story doesn't end with despair.
No.
There's a hint of something beyond the immediate consequences.
Yeah.
A possibility of something better down the line.
And it leaves us with this sense of anticipation, wouldn't you say?
It does. There's more to come.
There's so much to unpack here.
Yeah.
Even in this ancient narrative, we see the seeds of hope.
The possibility of a future where things are made right.
It's really quite beautiful.
It is. And that's something we'll explore further as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Well, we've journeyed from the universe's grand creation to humanity's humble beginnings and that pivotal moment of disobedience and its consequences.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. As we enter this final part of our deep dive into the Genesis creation narrative,
Yeah,
I think it's time to kind of step back and consider the bigger picture.
I agree. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by how these stories, despite their ancient origins,
Right.
continue to resonate with us today.
You know, they touch on these timeless questions
Yeah.
that we all grapple with.
Yeah.
Questions about our origins, our purpose,
Mm-hmm.
our relationship with the divine, with the
Yeah.
natural world.
It's all there.
I mean, what do you make of that enduring relevance?
It makes me wonder if these stories tap into something fundamental about the human experience.
I think so.
They offer a framework, maybe even a language for understanding our place in the universe.
I think that's a great way to put it.
But beyond that, what are some of the key takeaways from the Genesis creation narrative?
Yeah.
What are those enduring themes that speak to us across millennia?
One that immediately comes to mind is the importance of order and structure.
Okay.
I mean, the narrative really emphasizes that movement from chaos to cosmos,
Right.
from a formless state to one with form and purpose.
Yeah, that initial act of creation, light separating from darkness,
Yeah,
it seems to set the stage for everything that follows.
it does. It's this powerful image of transformation.
Yeah, and this principle of order isn't limited to the physical world either.
No, not at all.
We see it reflected in the establishment of social structures, moral codes,
Right.
even in our own personal lives.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like we have this innate desire to create order from chaos,
Mm-hmm.
to find meaning and purpose in a world that can often feel random and unpredictable.
Yeah, it's a constant balancing act.
It really is.
Another major theme that runs through the Genesis narrative is the concept of human responsibility.
Okay.
We're not just passive observers in this grand creation.
Right.
We're given dominion, a call to stewardship.
That's a heavy responsibility.
It's a reminder that our actions have consequences,
Yeah.
that we're not exempt from the ripple effects of our choices.
We're all connected.
Exactly. The story of Adam and Eve really highlights the power of our decisions, the potential for both good and evil that we carry within us.
Every choice we make matters.
Every single one.
But amidst those challenges, the narrative also offers a glimmer of hope, wouldn't you say?
It does.
Even in the face of disobedience and exile, there's a promise of redemption,
Right.
of a future possibility.
It's like a thread of grace woven through the fabric of the story.
It's
A
beautiful.
reminder that even when we stumble,
Yeah.
even when we make mistakes,
We can come back.
there's always a path back to wholeness.
It's reassuring.
It is. It's a message of hope.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Genesis creation narrative,
Okay.
I'm left with this question for you and for our listeners.
Okay, I'm ready.
If these stories are meant to be understood metaphorically,
Hmm.
what truths do they reveal about the human condition?
Okay.
And if they're meant to be taken literally,
Right.
how does that shape our understanding of our place in the universe?
Those are profound questions.
They really are.
And ultimately, each individual has to grapple with them in their own way.
It's a journey.
It is.
Yeah.
But what's clear to me is that these narratives,
Yeah.
thousands of years old, continue to spark our imagination,
Right.
challenge our assumptions,
Yes.
and invite us to explore the mysteries of existence.
It's the beginning of the conversation.
It is. They offer a starting point for a lifelong conversation
Yeah.
about who we are, where we come from,
And where we're going.
and where we might be going.
It's beautiful.
It's a journey worth taking.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Genesis creation narrative.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it sparked your curiosity
Yeah.
and inspired you to explore these ancient texts with fresh eyes.
Absolutely.
There's truly a wealth of wisdom and wonder waiting to be discovered.
I couldn't agree more.
And remember, the journey of understanding is ongoing.
It is.
Keep asking questions
Keep seeking answers.
and keep exploring the rich tapestry of human thought and experience.
That's what it's all about.